What is up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a blessed Sunday afternoon. We got a little book review today, guys, and if you couldn't tell from the cosplay I'm wearing right now, we're reviewing an Ernest Hemingway book. Which one in particular? It's one of his shortest works. I think it's his shortest novelette or novel, or his shortest and longest work. I know it's an oxymoron, but or paradox. I don't know. I just make these words up, guys. Let's get into the review. You may be wondering which Ernest Hemingway work in particular we're discussing today. Well, if the intro didn't give it away, we're reviewing The Old Man and the Sea. And if you're not familiar with the tale, it is a story of an older gentleman who has had a stroke of bad luck when it comes to fishing in the sea. He's went many days without getting any sort of decent or catch at all. In this story, tells his battle with the biggest catch that he may have gotten in his entire fishing career. And, of course, in the Hemingway fashion, the story is very much more than just an old man catching a very powerful marlin. There's a lot of allegory and symbolism going on here. But let's address the things that I liked. Of course, Hemingway is the daddy of minimalism. He may have not been the first to start the movement. I believe that would be Faulkner or other of his contemporaries. But Hemingway is the one we most commonly associate with the minimalist movement, and for good reason. Hemingway definitely has this super incredible talent with the iceberg theory, which is, this is what he shows you, but, this is how much you can infer from, what's being said, how the characters interact with the world, stuff like that. And I think that this iceberg theory was at its working at its best in The Sun Also Rises. There's so much going on there with these characters that Hemingway doesn't outright explain to us, but we can tell through their actions, their dialogue, that these are very troubled characters with very unique issues. I mean, Robert Kahn or Cohn, I think it's Kahn. Robert Kahn, Jake Barnes, Emily Brett, I think is her name, Lady Brett. What? These are all super richly characterized characters in The Sun Also Rises. So I bring this up, you guys are wondering, book band, this isn't The Sun Also Rises. We're talking about The Old Man in the Sea. And I think there is a lot of that similar work with our old main character. If we do get his name, I honestly don't remember, but he's basically the featured character of this story other than the marlin that he's trying to catch. There is other characters involved in the story, but they play more minor roles. But I'll just go ahead and say it. The Old Man in the Sea was not my favorite story. And this is kind of sad to say because it is a shorter work, but it did feel like kind of a slog to get through. Of course, I see the workings here. We get, you know, discussion on the indomitable human spirit, right? We get, how to be honorable even in our weakness as we grow older. What does it mean to what's the valor of not giving up, of still pushing, even in situations where it seems that winning or succeeding might be impossible. We also get how the struggle sometimes you're not rewarded for it, and sometimes it's in the struggle itself where the honor comes from, not necessarily from the product of what happens through our strength and honor. Uh, all that being said, I don't know, for some reason this book didn't really resonate with me as much as The Sun Also Rises does. I've heard feedback from other readers who are genuinely I don't want to say old, but geriatric folk. No, that's a joke. But people older than me who can sort of can resonate with the main character in the story more because they have that perspective very akin to the old man's perspective, right? They've lived life, they've seen their highest and their lows, their personal highest and personal lows. And so it's easier to make a connection with that character. I think maybe that's something that hurt the reading experience for me because despite the receded hairline, I am on the younger side, I would say, um, and so I think it was kind of hard for me personally to connect with our main character. The writing itself, of course, is up to Hemingway standard. He uses lot of like fishing and terminology, and a lot of that was kind of lost on me because in his simplistic form, the scarcity of words, the way in which he's describing these things, it's like I kind of have to know or have some sort of background knowledge, because especially some of the jargon that he's using, the fishing jargon, or is stuff that I'm not familiar with. So I did catch myself looking up a lot of that stuff, which isn't uh, always a bad thing. Like I think with the Lovecraft works, there's a lot of words that I had to look up that were more frequently used in his time. But I guess from a writer's perspective, these were all words that were pretty widely applicable. And so the Hemingway words I don't understand really could only be applied to, fishing. And so maybe that's not something, or aquatic fiction isn't something you're big into, then that knowledge might not be important. So I didn't have as much of a drive to figure out what these words meant as much as I did with the Lovecraft work. Part of me even wonders if there's a way that Hemingway may have could have got the allegory and the themes that he was trying to interweave into a story in less words. Part of this does feel a little drawn out to me, with all the strict description of the procedure that the main character goes through to, feed himself, rigging and manning the boat that he's on. Maybe some of that stuff could have been shortened down or edited a little bit, which is crazy to say of Hemingway. Um, because those I think were the parts that really slowed it down for me when there were, I'm not saying there has to be action all the time, right? Of course, the scenes where he's fighting with the fish physically and we see the turmoil that he goes through, it keeps you enthralled. It's really that middle section that I think really lost me. I think this beginning of the Old Man of the Sea is really strong. I think the ending is also really strong in what that says about the whole story and how he concluded the Old Man of the Sea. I think the middle is just really where I kind of got stuck. Again, like last week, this is going to be a shorter video. Maybe that's just inherent to the story that we're reviewing being, barely over 100 pages. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's still a Hemingway work. I still enjoyed it. If I had to give it some type of rating, I'd probably give it like a 2.5 out of 5, which is maybe that's, blasphemy to say of a Hemingway work. And maybe I can come back to this story later in life and better appreciate and give it a higher ranking, because every reread you do of a story, you come away with something different. But yeah, I'd say it's probably just average book for me. I see what was being done. I enjoyed it, and I moved on. I wasn't really thinking about the story much after I read it. So, but thank you guys for watching. If you're a big Hemingway fan, of course, you gotta check the Old Man to See out. If you're into the aquatic scene and fishing, uh, maybe you could check this out too. Or if you're looking to study more of minimalist works, check out the Old Man and see how it tells a lot with a little. But that'll be it for this week, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you 2 Sundays from now.